Let's go. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Okay, so welcome back, guys, to the Brittany Bailiff podcast. Today we have a lovely special guest. I have with me the beautiful Bailey Hibbert, who is an up-and-coming coach, which is exciting for me to say, and I'm sure exciting for her to hear as well. And yeah, she's going to share with us a bit about her story and what got her interested into being in the industry. Because as most people know, like we've got our own stories, coaches that got us into, wanting to be in this world and working with people. So yeah, B has a lot of her own personal experience with like women's health concerns and things like that. So I'm very excited to chat. How are you feeling, Bailey?
So excited.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to talk about everything that, we've been doing lately and my journey and how I got here and yeah, just everything.
Do you want to give us a little like recap, or not even recap, but like a little teaser into what's to come?
Yeah. I am more than happy to share my journey with birth control, endometriosis, and the PCOS diagnosis I got
Mm,
in the last 10 years and what that looked like, navigating through all of that.
mm.
Um, and then having a child and the other side of that, and getting into the fitness industry and then trying to balance my hormones naturally, get off birth control, and kind of where I'm at with my cycles now as well.
Oh, I'm so excited. Cool. All right. Well, I was telling Bailey as we like that's to come, guys, but I love to start off these episodes, especially with a guest, just to sort of like ice break or like get to know us a bit differently is like pulling a conversation card. So I'm going to shuffle them and we'll see what comes up and then we can both answer it and then we'll get straight into it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I might even just like, pull the deck halfway and just pull a random one. Oh, no, I've done that one before. Um, I've done all of these before. Okay, this one. This is cute. What are your favorite parts of yourself?
Oh, I like that.
Mm, what would you say?
Probably one of my favorite parts is um I'll do like a physical and then I'll do like a kind of emotional one.
Yeah, go for it.
Favorite emotional is just that I keep going no
Mm,
matter what. Like
mm,
I'll cry and I'll be upset and I'll be angry or whatever, but I will keep going.
mm.
No matter the situation. So I'll always come through something.
Yeah,
Love that about myself. And then
she's
physically,
resilient.
oh, she has a lot of resilience in her bone. She does. That's for sure. And then yeah, physically lately, um, I've just been kind of loving looking more toned and muscular and strong rather than
Mm,
anything I've experienced before. I really like that about myself. I feel like I look like I have energy, which I
love,
like too. So that's
love.
probably my two.
It sounds like when you said is kind of new for you in the past, has that not been the case?
Oh no, I was like really sick for a long time, like 5 or 6 years, with like
Mm,
chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia and all of that. So I looked really drained for a very long time. So this is the first
mm.
time in a while that I've looked like I have life in me and like so that's really cool. Yeah, and I look a lot healthier than I ever have. So that's definitely something I'd love now.
Do you feel it as well? Like, do you feel healthier?
Yeah. I feel like I have energy to get through each day and like I have, yeah, like a pep in my step kind of vibe now, which is something that I was hoping for a long time. So I'm glad I've got it.
That's incredible. And I'm sure this will come up later, so I'm so
Yeah.
excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
Me. What was it?
Yeah.
My favorite thing about myself. I think my favorite like non-physical feature is probably like my energy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to I think I've said this on a podcast as well with my other like cards is like my energy I get and like hmm. I like the ability of myself that I can switch between very like calm and grounding and then very like high energy, I can't stop talking kind of vibes.
That's
I
cool.
can switch between the two.
Yeah.
Um, and not make myself wrong for it. And then my
Yeah.
favorite physical feature. I don't know. I haven't really thought about this.
Yeah.
Maybe my eyes, actually. I have like really nice eyes.
Good.
Yeah, cute.
I love that.
Alrighty. So take us back to, I don't even know if we say like the start of your journey. Like when even is that? Like it's hard to pinpoint, but I guess you were talking about 5 or 6 years ago, you were a little bit sick. Is that sort of when this all started for you, like 5 or 6 years ago, or a bit longer?
I would
If you said
actually
10.
say so. Well, yeah, so I'm 26 now, and this all started when I was 15
Mm,
from memory. So it's been about 10 years, 10, 11 years.
mm,
Um, and I got on the pill at 15 on Levlin for heavy periods.
mm,
Although looking back, I'm like, was that like, I don't think I really understood what that meant. And from memory, they weren't actually bad, and it probably looked like a very normal period. But for me, I believed that it was heavy.
mm,
So I got put on the pill for that, and stayed on it until I was 18. So that was going on. And then I got sick with glandular fever when I was 16, almost 17.
mm,
And then after glandular fever, like I had glandular and I kept training, I kept working, I kept doing school, I didn't rest. And I was having like onset of it. And after a lot of research, like trying to figure out what was wrong, they said, okay, it's chronic fatigue. And
mm.
then that went into chronic fatigue syndrome. And then I dropped out of school and I was bedridden at 17, 18.
Wow.
It was crazy. I'd get up from one shift at Woolies a week, and that was all I could do. Like, and it was like
Whoa.
a 5 hour, and I had to have sugar the whole time. And like, it was just crazy when I look back on. And then when I was 18, it was okay, this is fibromyalgia. You've got the chronic
Mm.
pain with it now. It's affecting your whole body, um,
Can you
kind of
explain to
thing.
us
So
what that
that,
is?
sorry.
Fibromyalgia for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, it's basically how it was explained to me was it's your body is basically shutting down, and it's like a full pain of your whole body. The way I explained it is I constantly felt like my body was concrete, and it
Mm,
was so heavy. I was severely underweight, but I felt like it was so heavy.
yeah.
And I would get like shooting pains up and down my legs. I wouldn't be able to get out of bed for very long. And at that stage, like I was training for cheerleading, and I was as fit as I probably could have been, but then that was the other, like that was the part of it that when I had to just drop it all, and I went from being an athlete and training 3 times a week and doing comps and winning and feeling great to then being in
Mm,
bed and not even being able to go to school. Um, so that chronic pain and side of it lasted a very long time, and I was never put on medication for the pain. But they did try to do like antidepressants to try and help maybe take off something,
mm,
um, which then had their own issues as well. So it was like one of those things where it was really hard to get answers. It was really hard to get someone who understood what it felt like. And so it was just like a lot of running around from doctor to doctor trying to get help. And then I eventually gave up. When I got to 18, I was like, no one's going to help me. So I'll just deal with it, and not forgot about, dealt with it,
yeah.
forgot about researching it more. So that was the other side of it as well. So, yeah, my 15 to 18 was just like so not what I expected it to be. I was just so sick, and didn't think I would ever get better. Um, Work
Wow.
or finish school or anything. Like, yeah, it was crazy.
So what year did you drop out of school? Like how old were you?
I was 18 when I dropped out. I did a term of year 12, and
Mm,
I was never there. And so I started failing because I wasn't there, and
mm,
decided to just drop out. I did go back and finish year 12 the year after
yeah.
at a more local school, and I would just go for my classes, go home,
Yeah.
sleep, go for the next class, go home,
Mm.
sleep. So I eventually did pass my year 12, but yeah, it was just very different to how I thought it would look.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So then you got to 18 and then you were kind of just dealing with it yourself, you reckon?
Yeah.
How did the next few years look until you're about 20? Because I know that's when you mentioned you've had your daughter as well.
Yeah. So when I turned 18, I was still on the pill.
Mm.
And about a month after my 18th birthday, I was at the train station with my mom. And I said to her, I was like, Mom, I can't see anything. And she goes, What do you mean
Mm.
you can't see anything? I said, I can't see anything out of my right eye. She goes, That's a bit scary. Like, let's sit down. And then I lost feeling in my left arm. I couldn't see and I couldn't hear. And
Mm.
my head was pounding. And I was like, Mom, I don't know what's happening. Like, I was really scared. She called an ambulance. They thought I was having a stroke at 18.
Mm.
Um, and eventually they broke it down to, I can't remember what they said it was, but it replicated a stroke. And they said that it was due to the pill.
Yeah.
So they said immediately, you're off the pill. I
Mm.
had migraines on it, but I ruled that as my chronic fatigue and
Mm.
fibro. Like I was like, oh, it's just because of that.
Yeah.
So there was probably a lot of warning signs that
Mm.
that's what was going on. But when you've got another health issue, like it's just that.
Yeah.
Um, so that was when I stopped the pill. So I was just after I turned 18, stopped the pill. And then I did the depot shot.
Mm.
That was the next thing. And oh my gosh, I just felt horrid. And I did
I
have
don't
other
know much
monthly.
about this one actually. Like I know that it's like an
I,
injection that you get, but I don't know much about it.
yeah, I only did one round because
Yeah.
it felt hard.
Yeah.
Um, it lasted, so it lasts like 2 or 3 months or something from
Mm.
memory, or back then it did. And yeah, it made me the moodiest, just,
Oh.
oh, I didn't even want to be around myself. Like it
Yeah.
was so just not good. I felt like I put on a bunch of weight. I probably didn't, but I felt like I did.
Mm.
And just really affected my mental health. So I was like, nope, not doing that. That's it.
Yeah.
Done. So no pill, no depot. Okay, I'm limiting my options
Yeah.
here.
Just trial of elimination or whatever it's
Oh,
called.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Just go through them all. Why not?
Yeah.
So then I got the Implanon rod,
Mm.
and that was fine until I was 19. So that got me through the rest of the year. Um, just I had it in. I think I still had my normal period, and it was still heavy, but it wasn't painful at that stage from memory, or it was like a normal kind of like some cramping, but it wasn't like I don't remember it being horrible.
Yeah.
Um, And then one random day when I was 19, my whole arm bruised up.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
they were like, oh, your body's rejected it. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's been in it like 9 months. They're like, we need to take it out.
Oh my
So
God.
I was like, okay, well, like, what am I going to do now? They took it out. And they said, let's just have nothing for a while. And
Mm.
that petrified me at 19,
Mm.
firstly, for birth control reasons. But I was like, whatever. So I then was I was natural for a while. Didn't have a regular period, just bleed irregularly, full on. And that's when the pain started. So it got insanely
Mm.
heavy and it would knock me out every time it would come up. I would be in bed. It would be, I'd have to have like Panadol and Nurofen constantly trying to like heat packs on it in bed. Like it was just not a vibe. And
Yeah.
so they then started to think maybe there's something going on in here.
Mm.
Um, so we got it referred to a private gynecologist, and he said, look, you're really young. Obviously, you're 19. You're not trying for kids right now. Like, don't worry about it. And I said, well, that's great, but
Oh my God.
I'm like
I'm
in
in
bed
pain,
three
sir.
days. Yeah, like a lot. Like that's great, but what can we
Mm.
investigate? So they did a ultrasound and they found that I had something like at that point in time double the amount of follicles per
Mm.
side that I was meant to have.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, due to that, obviously she's like, you got polycystic ovaries, and because of how many follicles you've got, they're not viable. That like there's no way they'll be viable. So the chances of you having a kid is like you're gonna struggle. And I was like, oh, at 19, I'm not trying to have a kid, but I'm like, that's really hard for me to hear.
Yeah.
Um,
And I've hear
and
this common a lot with girls. Like this is like they get this news often and they almost have to start a fertility journey like
straight
as
like
straight away. It's like, when did we
so
get here?
crazy. Yeah, I was in a relationship where I wasn't thinking of that, but it
Mm,
was like to be told that I would struggle, like that was really hard to hear.
yeah.
And so then we went back to the gynecologist and he said, look, from everything we've kind of looked at, I really do think you have endometriosis, but
Mm.
I don't want to operate on you yet because you're only 19. So let's pop a marina in. And then when you're ready to have kids, we'll deal with it then.
Oh
I,
my God.
yeah. I found the reports the other day and I was reading it like gobsmacked. Like, are you serious?
What did it say?
So just that, like he literally said in the report that he didn't want to operate on me because I was young. So until I'm ready to have kids, a marina will be fine.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, looking back, like, are you serious? Like, that's a deal with it later. Probably like this is we're paying for this service, and you're telling anyway.
Yeah. You're like,
Crazy,
can't even think about it
crazy.
or else I get angry. But
So
this is the thing.
and
Like so many people just like, nope, don't worry about it until I have kids. But your fertility and your cycle is a measure of health, regardless of if you want kids or not.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a monthly check-in on
Mm,
how's my body feeling.
yeah.
And at the time, I didn't know that. At the time, I thought that it was a pain in the ass. Like I was like, oh, my
Yeah.
periods, this is it drives me insane, and I don't need it right now. And
Yeah.
I would like,
We'd
I
almost want to
really,
like not deal with it until later.
yeah. Um, and so that was really hard. And when he said he didn't want to operate, I was like, okay, like that's just how it is. We'll do the marina. I was petrified to
Mm,
get the marina,
yeah.
because of how long it stays in and the just like the way it was explained to me was really scary. So they
Yeah, it's just
didn't,
like a foreign object sitting in your uterus. Like
yeah, for
I
years.
considered
And
it
I'm
too,
like,
but I was like, nah.
crazy. I was like, that's
Yeah.
it's, and he was like, oh, we're not going to put it in while you're awake because it will hurt. And I'm like, oh my God, like this
Ugh.
is
Not
terrifying.
selling it to me,
Like,
sir.
no, I'm like, this. So they decided to put me under and insert it. Thank goodness. So I went under, got it inserted, went home.
Mm.
Um, the next day I was sitting in my year 12 homeroom and I was like, whoa, I've got really strong cramping. And I texted mom. She goes, oh, they said that that's normal while it settles. I said,
Mm.
okay. And then it was to the stage where like I couldn't breathe. And I was lying on the couch in the common room. I just remember I was like in so much pain. And my boyfriend at the time's like, what are you doing? Like, get up. It's not that bad. Like, you'll be
Oh.
right. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Something's wrong. Like, this is
Mm.
surely is not normal. Mum eventually picked me up. She took me into the hospital. And sure enough, it had dislodged and moved. And it was sticking into, like, it was punching the side.
Oh.
So they gave me morphine and I was still in pain. I could feel it all. It was horrid. They ended up taking it out while I was awake, and that pain was worse than childbirth. I will tell you that
Oh
now.
my God.
And then after they removed it, he was like, okay, well, while you're here, we may as well do a surgery for endo
Mm.
and we'll put a new marina in while you're in that surgery. And I'm like, a new marina? Like, my body just rejected one. Like,
What do you
but I
mean,
was like, okay,
sir?
whatever. Like, I was like, whatever. It's, if you're going to do the surgery, like, that might help. So I was like, okay,
Mm.
fine. And then I was meant to have the surgery a couple of days later, and I got a fever the morning of. So
Mm.
I wasn't allowed to go under. And so they dismissed my surgery, and didn't put a new marina in.
Mm.
So that was in like September, and they booked the surgery for the next February.
Right.
We'll just give your body some time to readjust after the marina, which I was grateful for, even
Mm.
though I knew it would be hard. And yeah, in February we'll get it sorted. So then I had summer, with nothing, and it was I couldn't track my period. It
Mm.
was once again the same pain and the same level, heavy as all heck, and it would be a full 7 days, and then it would be spotting, and then I wouldn't know when it was coming, when it was going. I had no idea what to do,
Yeah.
and it was just miserable. Um, and so then I went in for my surgery on the 2nd of February, when I was almost 20.
Why do I feel like I
And
know where this is going, but go on.
he walked in. They were taking a while, and I was really anxious for the surgery. My mum was there, my partner at the time, fresh relationship, maybe a month or two into this relationship.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He was there, and the doctor came in, and I said, "Is everything okay?" Because I was meant to go half an hour ago. He goes, "I just need to get you to sign some forms." I was like, "Oh yeah, no worries. Like I'll come and
Mm.
sign some forms." Go in there, and he sits down. He goes, "We can't do surgery today." And I'm like, "I've been waiting almost 6 months for this.
Yeah.
Why?" He goes, "You're 4 weeks pregnant."
Mm.
And I was like,
What?
"You told me
Mm.
that I would struggle. What do you
Mm.
mean?" I said, "I haven't even had a regular period." And he was like, I, I, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, all right, well, my mom's out there with this guy that she's met once. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Mm.
So anyway, that's how my daughter came to be, and kind of the story that got us there. So I didn't get the surgery before my daughter was born.
Mm.
And so then I didn't have birth control for 9 months while I had her. Um, she she was born the C-section, and that went all fine, and it was okay, and all of that. The pregnancy was really hard. My body went through it, but we got her at the end of the day, and that was it.
Mm.
And I still don't know how it happened. I was bleeding and spotting
Mm.
and all of that, so I did not expect it.
Mm.
Um, just crazy. Um, but lucky, like I'm very grateful, very glad that it happened that way, but just insane. Couple of years. And then after she was born, I got the Marina re-put in.
Mm.
And I had that one. That one was inserted while I was awake because I had dilated with birth. So they were like, "Oh yeah, you'll be fine." Um, it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay.
Mm.
And I had that one in until July 2022.
Yeah.
So that was three or 4 years I had it in. And then the same thing happened. I had a random pain. I thought it was my appendix. I
Mm.
went for an ultrasound. They're like, "Your appendix is about to burst." I was like, "Oh my God." I went to hospital. They removed my appendix and then actually
What?
found it wasn't my
Oh
appendix.
my God.
So what had happened was my Marina dislodged again a second time.
Mm.
And the endometriosis was rubbing on my organs. So
Mm.
it was a flare up.
Yeah.
So they removed it. But they took out my appendix. But like I still don't have an it's crazy.
Well,
And I
luckily we
also
don't need it then.
I
But
know, but I feel empty.
yeah,
I
you feel
never
empty. I feel
noticed it before. But I also had cysts on my ovaries as well. So
Mm.
it was good that I went in because it was definitely needed. So they
Yeah.
did remove endo then and the cysts and the marina.
Yeah.
And after that I did have no birth control for a year.
Mm.
Yeah, for a year. Same thing. Ridiculously heavy. Took everything out of me.
And
I'd
this
be
is
sick.
about, this would take us to like mid last year, mid 2023
Yeah,
then. Yeah.
yeah. And it was just like, I'd get physically sick every time I had my period as well. Like I'd get the
Mm, the
colds
nausea.
or,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd throw up. I'd be there. It'd be out of me.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff to look back on. And then I went back on a different birth control pill
Mm-hmm.
in September, October last year.
Yeah.
So that one was Zoli.
Mm.
And the point of it was that it didn't have estrogen in it,
Yeah.
from memory. Therefore, it shouldn't have given me migraines.
Yeah.
So they were like, this will be it. I then did the stupidest thing I could have done, being uneducated, and I strung together my packets. So 10 years of this birth control issues and period pain and all of this, and I just finally had a pill in front of me that, oh, I don't need to have my period for 4 months. I'm not going to have it. Like, I want a break. and, and I just met my current partner. I was like, yeah, I want a break. I was just like,
I'm over
why
it.
not? yeah, I'm done. I've done my time. And I strung together 4 packets.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, three packets, but they're longer ones though. They're not 28-day ones. And yeah, I got to Christmas and I didn't have many side effects on this pill apart from migraines. I was still having my
Mm.
migraines, but I didn't want to come off the pill and I didn't want to face that that's what it was.
Yeah.
Um, but then by the time Christmas came around, I had started dipping into cycle health and how it's meant to look. And, you know, I listened to podcasts about birth control and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing to myself? Like, this is
Mm.
crazy. So I stopped it. I stopped taking it. I wake up one morning and I was like, mid-pack,
Nope.
not having it. I think I
Mm.
still had like a week left.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not having it. It was 2 days after Christmas. I was like, nah, my body can detox it now. That's fine. Um, shouldn't have done that because it was angry. And
Yeah.
I bled for almost 4 weeks straight.
Whoa.
I would have to have 2 different types of period protection. So I would wear
Mm.
a tampon and a pad. Sometimes I would wear 2 pairs of pants, like shorts and then pants. And that would last me half an hour before
Whoa.
I would have to change everything. I was like, where is this all coming from? This surely isn't okay. Like, where is my body even
Mm.
getting this?
Mm. Yeah.
But no pain, no pain, but
Interesting.
just that
Heaviness. Yeah.
heaviness, ridiculous, no let up. And once it started, I was like, oh shit. So I started, sorry, I don't know if I can
You
swear,
can
but
swear. Go for it.
okay. I started taking the pill again because
Mm.
I was like, okay, all right, I'll just take the last of this packet. Didn't stop it. No way in hell was that going to stop it. And I
Mm.
was freaking out and like, oh my gosh, there's something really wrong here. Went to my doctor and she's like, oh, it could be like, I don't want to scare you, but it could be some kind of cancer that's come
Oh
out. And I'm
my
like,
God.
I was like, don't tell me this if you guess, like if you're guessing, tell me if you know.
Yeah.
And she's like, here's this progesterone tablet. You have to have it 3 times a day for 10 days. It will stop your bleeding. It will reset your system. And I'm like, the whole point of me stopping the pill was to stop taking these pills, but sure,
Yeah.
whatever. Popped that 10 days, bled the whole time. It
Mm.
didn't let up. Then I had 2 days break of nothing and then it started again. But luckily when it started again, it was my cycle.
Yeah.
So I had 7 days of bleeding
Mm.
and then it stopped. And the second it stopped, I was like, I could have a party right now. Like, I am
Yeah.
never going to mess with my cycle the way that I have the last 10 years.
Oh my
So
God.
that was the day where I'm like, I'm done. I'm done.
Mm.
Let's just detox, get
That's
all of
it.
this stuff out of it and start fresh. So
Yeah.
that's the deep dive
So what
history bit
makes
off.
you say when you went off the pill and you just stopped it that you shouldn't have done that? Like, what do you think you should have done instead?
So I definitely should have spoken to at least my GP and said,
Mm.
look, this is what I want to do.
Mm.
Um, I want to stop it.
Just for girls that are like, yeah, thinking of going
Yeah,
off.
exactly. No, definitely. I should have at least spoke to her and had a medical professional on my side so that when things started going wrong, I was already aware, oh, these will be the side effects if you stop, which
Mm.
I didn't like. I just stopped. I've listened to some other podcasts as well with people suggesting that if you do want to stop, going to get help with, you know, your hormones while you're still on it and checking your hormone levels, making sure that it's operating how it's meant to so that when you come off, you're okay and like preparing for it. Although
Mm.
I don't know the proper streams of where you go, whether that would be like, I don't know really. The podcast that I listened to was with a naturopath and she
Yeah.
worked with people. So that would probably be a good way to go, but at least my GP, like I should have at
Mm.
least let her into the picture and said, this is what I'm planning to do.
Mm.
Because she might have had a recommendation as well. And I just
Yeah.
left her out of it. So
Yeah.
definitely something that looking back, or at least finishing the pack, not stopping mid-pack, or, you
Mm.
know, like stuff like that, just being prepared for it a bit better rather than just waking up one day and being like, oh, I'm done with this now. Like,
Mm.
probably not my smartest move, but you live and you learn, and now I can help other people and it will be fine. But yeah, so why I think it really scared me into, I'm still so young and I don't want to
Mm,
cause damage.
yeah.
Like, there's no point messing with my system when it was
No.
working fine. Well, it was working okay. I was in a lot of pain, but clearly if I was able to have my daughter, like it was working okay. Just
So what
disruptive to my
got
life.
you guys going from that point to where you are now? Because I know things are a lot better for you now and a lot different.
Yeah, so my partner, he is a health coach, and he's been interested in kind of how the bodies work, and balances things,
Mm,
and how food can really be a really good balancing tool for
mm,
anything.
mm.
So he started researching and he came across some things about balancing hormones. And he said, like, would you be willing to kind of
Be my test
putting in the
dummy.
work? Yeah. And really seeing if we can make something of this. I said, yeah, anything. I'll try anything.
Mm,
So it started with the first cycle was a bit messy. Feb was a bit messy
mm.
with timing and tracking. Um, March was better, but it was on time. So already after a month, I had back to 28 days.
Yeah.
Um, but it was back to that ridiculously heavy, ridiculously painful. And I said, I want to try not having pain relief for
Mm,
this. I don't know if that's doing anything. I haven't looked into any of that stuff, but I was like, maybe my body needs to feel this.
mm,
Maybe there's a reason that it's this painful.
mm,
And maybe if I just let it one time, the next time will be a bit better. So I let it.
mm,
And it was so hard. Like, I couldn't have conversations. I would like be nuggeting on the floor, like fetal position,
mm.
hard. But the month after that, it was like reduced pain wise. I was
Wow.
like, maybe wanted Panadol once, where I'm like, okay, this is actually really hurting. And it was on my first day, and I was like, this is really heavy. It's really hurting. I wouldn't mind having Panadol. And then in that time as well, March, April, my partner Michael came across Repeat and his work. And one of his biggest kind of findings was the raw carrot diet,
Yeah.
raw carrot salad
Yeah.
for flushing out estrogen,
Yeah.
excess and bad estrogen, like not viable, not good stuff for your body. So because of what I knew about estrogen and how the pill had affected my estrogen and it causing the migraines, I was like, I may as well try having one of these every day. My next cycle after I had one of those every day, and it's so easy to make and it honestly tastes fine. I had no pain.
Mm,
And I was like, there's no way that carrots
yeah.
were the freaking answer. Like, what do you mean I have to eat a raw carrot every day? Like, you
Sure,
just
I'll do it.
grate up
Give it to
some
me.
salad. Like, it's crazy. Grated carrot, coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, and salt. And you just have one of those a day. And I have no period pain. What did I just go through all of that for? So that was like mind boggling. That was one of the things we did. Um, and then increasing my magnesium intake
Yeah.
was another thing. So from sources where, like, I'm really big on the element salts.
Mm,
I have one of those every day just because it, like, I mean, it
they're my
hydrates me.
favorite thing ever. Yeah.
They get me to stop drinking soft drink. Like, it's just like, have it. I know that my magnesium's high now, and that got rid of my migraines. So
Mm,
that was another big thing is I've researched my migraines. I was like, I get them at the same time every month. And that's when my body needs the magnesium going into my period. So what
yeah.
if I just try to up it? And then that worked as well. Um, so the only other thing other than those two we really tried to do was get my body out of stress
Yeah.
mode, out of survival mode.
Yeah.
Um, he's been a really, really huge help with that as well. And kind of go from just surviving to just like being able to breathe, putting a priority in my training, putting a priority in my health, trying to get rid of processed foods as much as possible in this time as well. My junk food, like my takeaway intake went from like once or twice a day
Yeah.
to once every 3 weeks if I was feeling naughty. So like
Yeah.
dropping that, having whole food, eating more, the carrots, the magnesium, and then all of a sudden we're like, wow, this is working. So I haven't had Panadol for period pain since March.
Incredible.
My cycles are now exactly 28 days. I can tell you the hour I will get my period. Like I can
Mm.
say whether I will get it tonight before I go to sleep or tomorrow morning before I wake up.
Wow.
And the only reason I know that isn't because of pain. It's because I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna come
You're
within
so
an hour.
tuned into your body. Yeah. And
And
this
I
is
can
what a
tell,
lot of girls aren't. They're not tapped in and they're so full of, I guess we call it this junk, this filler stuff that people are so just not connected to their bodies. Yeah.
yeah, and it blocks. Like what I didn't realize is I was blocking the signals from my body. My body was trying
Mm.
to tell me what it wanted to do, and
Well,
I
that's
was
what the pill
blocking.
does,
Yeah,
or any kind of birth control. It stops your brain and your ovaries from
talking.
talking.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're just so out of sync, and it takes time to get it back into sync. And yeah, it's now like I had my period. I'm in my luteal phase now, so three weeks ago. I only had a 3-day bleed, and that was insane to me.
Mm,
A tampon would last me all day, like as long as you're meant to have it
crazy.
6 hours or whatever. Like I wouldn't even have to worry about leakage. I wouldn't have to worry about pain. I was going to the gym, seeing people, like doing everything I normally do. The hardest part of my cycle at the moment is my luteal phase because I'm just moody.
Bit
That's it.
grouchy. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. And if you told
Yeah.
me that at 18, hey, in 6 years, the hardest part of your cycle is going to be your luteal phase, I would have said, what's a luteal phase, firstly?
Yeah.
And then I would have said, what do you mean?
Mm.
Like, I don't see it getting any better. Is there a medicine that I have that makes it better? Is it, do I finally get surgery and that makes it better? Like, no, you just
You had
eat
some
some salad
carrots.
and drink some salt and have some carrots. So to me, it blows my mind, and I am trying to now go back and really read into my reports to see what was there, because I was told, oh, you have endo, you have PCOS, and it was like people were throwing around these
Mm.
things, and I'm like, I've now had one surgery or two, maybe there was a second one in there, but the fact that I don't even remember how many surgeries I had, I don't remember certain things from that period of time,
Yeah.
is really kind of like scary to me. So I'm now going through the process of like rereading exactly what happened in each surgery that I had,
Mm.
exactly what the findings were, every ultrasound, what the findings were, all my blood tests, where are my hormone levels at, what were we looking at, and all of that kind of as a big picture, as well as then, yeah, now looking into helping girls that are the same, like the fact that I didn't know that there was four. I did health at school. How did I not know that there was 4 phases of a cycle until I listened to a podcast? Like that was crazy to me. I could not name
Mm.
them until a
Mm.
year ago,
Mm.
and I was 25. Like I had a
Yeah.
kid, and I couldn't even tell you. Like it was crazy to me, and that I've through sharing my story on my Instagram and stuff like that, I've had so many people come to me and be like, "Oh, I didn't know that," or
Mm.
"Oh, where did you hear? Like, can I learn more about that? Where did you find this? Or how did you get into this?" And so that's crazy to me that I wasn't the only one who didn't know this stuff.
Mm.
Um, and that it's like it's becoming more common to know this stuff now. But when I was in school, none of us.
No.
It wasn't talked about.
No.
Like it wasn't, and it was brushed over in school. I feel like I could not remember when we learnt about it. And yeah, and I just had no idea. And I feel like at the time that I was going through it all, so 8 to 10 years ago, maybe 6 to 10 years ago,
Mm.
for the whole thing, I feel like the doctors were kind of guessing as well. And
Yeah.
that was really hard, is like, I'm just this little, like, my mom was trying to get me all the help in the world, all the care in the world, and she was trying to fight for me. And then, I'm there hearing these, big diagnoses, and, oh, this is going to affect you when you're older, and, oh, don't worry about this. And here, we'll put a band-aid on it, get on this and get on that and get on this. And
Mm.
I was like, I don't know, like, I'm going to do it because I didn't know better. And so, yeah, that's really kind of why I think I started dabbling into the health coaching,
Mm.
and wellness kind of space, is like,
Your
I
own
wish
story.
that yeah,
Yeah.
I wish I knew this stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I was
and
exactly the
it's,
same.
it's so important. And I think that's what makes, like, I think you've said to me before, is like, that's what really helps people as well, as like knowing your coach has been through something and
Mm,
like they have a reason
for
as to
being,
why they're doing it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that makes a difference.
it
Like,
does. And you can feel like the passion behind it and the drive to help people because that's how I got into, I was supposed to study, well, I was studying, what was I studying? Like corporate sport or like sport management and like wanting to work in sport. And then yeah, similar thing. I found some podcasts on the menstrual cycle and I was like, what?
mm,
Why didn't I
so
know this
crazy.
stuff? And then I was on the pill at the time too, getting migraines all the time, all the things. And then I kind of like started learning more about it. And then eventually, what happened? Yeah, I just found myself wanting to help women more in this way rather than in a sport way. So then I started
Yeah.
studying a bit more specifically about it all and researching. And like my spare time was just like similar to you, just learning as much as I could. And incidentally just made my cycles a lot better too because I had all the symptoms in the world as well. Not to your degree, definitely, but I had like, the drastic mood swings, the migraines every month. I had migraines even from when I was like 3 years old. Like I swear, like
Wow.
every single week. And then it got a bit less to like monthly. And I don't remember the last time I had a migraine too. And I'm sure you're the same where you're like, I don't
Wow.
really
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
And
How
I didn't,
incredible is it?
yeah. And I didn't know that I shouldn't be on the pill if I got migraines until my doctor, God bless one of my doctors, she was like, wait, you get migraines? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, get off the pill. And I was like, oh, thanks.
Okay. Yeah,
She
that's
wasn't the one
it.
that prescribed it to me, but she was like, you need to be off it.
At least she knew that like
Yeah.
that was like a red flag. Like
Mm.
when I got on the pill, I
They're
had a
like, oh,
great
this will
GP,
help your migraines.
but yeah, she was like, oh, like it'll be fine. And I said to her, I think I was getting headaches on it. I didn't classify them as migraines yet. So I went to her, I said, oh, I get headaches. She goes, oh, do you have a history of stroke? I said, no, not in my family. She goes, oh yeah, they'll be fine. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh. And then when I had my little incident, she was like, oh, okay, maybe it's more serious than we thought. Maybe,
Yeah,
like,
maybe it was.
maybe it was. Maybe it's not
Mm.
all easy going. So, but yeah, just so grateful for where we're at now. And I'm loving that there is a lot of information out there now. There's people that study
Mm.
this stuff and speak about this stuff. There's podcasts. And
Mm.
like I started learning way before I got enrolled in my course. So
Mm.
as you said, so I'm studying my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness right now and
Woohoo.
the Master Female Programming with
Yay.
Women's Fitness Academy. So excited
So
to, especially
exciting.
to do the add-on
Mm.
and really learn about the female body and, this the way our bodies hormones react and the different phases of the cycle and what's happening in each phase, and then pre and postnatal as well, which I feel really
Mm.
passionately about.
Yeah.
um, just like, while I was pregnant, it was really hard. So I'd love to help people who are going through that, especially for the first time and you're so scared. And
Yeah.
after after I had my daughter, I went back to sport after 4 weeks, which after a
Whoa.
C-section is a no-no. It's a
Whoa.
no-no. No, no,
Whoa.
no, no, no. Let's not do that. So it's one of those things where it's like, I would love for my mistakes to then help other people, because
Yeah.
it's like
Don't do
they're
what I
for a
did.
reason.
Yeah.
It's like I've been there, and let's not do that. Let's
Well,
not
that's
do that.
kind of it. And that's like kind of like where you get to be, what's the saying? Your, what's the saying? It's like your story becomes someone else's survival guide.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
which
It's
would
like,
be awesome. It would
yeah.
feel like, oh, okay, that was all for a reason. Like even
Yeah.
just helping one person, like
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really like excited to do. And yeah, but I started learning about this stuff way before it. And
Mm,
you don't have to be enrolled in a course to
no.
learn more about this stuff. There's so many books out there and YouTube videos and podcasts and free papers, research papers online and stuff like that. There's so much out there.
I think as well with this stuff, like a lot of people almost want to gatekeep this information, but I think it should be a birthright.
Oh yeah,
Like, I
I
don't think
think
this
it
needs to
definitely should be.
be, yeah, I don't think people are like, oh, be careful. Yes, be careful who you get your information from. Yes, but
Yeah,
equally, it's like if it's just someone telling you to eat some raw carrots and like teaching you about the cycle, like and why you might be getting migraines, like migraines are a very big sign of like excess estrogen. And it
Mm.
makes sense if you've got excess estrogen if you're on the pill because it clogs your liver. Anywho,
Yeah.
like
It's
there's no
like,
harm in listening to that kind of stuff, I don't think.
no,
When we know
and
this
that's
stuff to
it.
begin with.
Exactly. It's better, like, even that's what I was thinking while I was going through, like, while I was doing the carrots and stuff like that. I was
Mm,
like, this feels silly, but at the end of the day, even if it doesn't do anything, right? Like, even if in a month's time I still have the same, painful periods as I've always had, at least I've had more carrots this month,
yeah. Yeah. And I
you
think as
know?
well, like with a lot of people, oh, where was I going with that?
Mm.
I don't know where I was going with that.
Mm.
One thing I did want to touch on again though was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
survival guide thing or the no
Yes.
survival, getting
Mode.
yourself out of survival mode. Yeah. What were your
Yeah.
big mechanisms for that?
Um, I was in survival mode from 11. So
Yeah.
I had a traumatic event and I was in PTSD, like
Fight or
full
flight
chronic
mode. Yeah.
PTSD for my teenage years. Getting myself out of that was really hard. A lot of it was environmental,
Mm,
and a lot of it I honestly credit my partner for. So
mm,
he, being with someone who's very calm
mm.
and doesn't cause me stress and
Yeah.
takes kind of the load with me
Yeah.
rather than me having to be in charge of everything and I'm carrying everything and
Be tightly
I'm
wound.
getting us
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It was heavily that and the food. If I was to say there was two things that got me out of it, it was having people around me that are calm and that have goals and good mindset and good
Mm,
ideas of
mm.
fitness and health, and people around me that are lifting me up, not causing me stress.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I think honestly comes down to food. It was
Absolutely.
eating more. He makes sure I eat breakfast every morning. So my body's not starting in a fasted state. Like,
Yeah.
it was eating more, eating better, eating more meat, drinking not Coke every 2 minutes, and here and there is whatever, and then just gentle exercise to start with,
Yeah.
gentle strength exercise, and slowly but surely that helped, and also being really mindful of what I was putting in my body. I think having that detox from the payments, like, and literally not taking anything for a bit, I think also really helped because
Mm,
I then just let my body do what it needed to do. I gave it room to do what it needed to do. And if I did need to take some, that's fine. And then I would like give it room again and whatever. Um, that is what I think really got me out of it. And there's days where I'm still in it, but the fact that that's once in a blue moon rather than every single day now is
yeah.
a huge difference. But yeah, I think it's really hard. One of those things where it's like you really need to assess if you're in that fight or flight mode and you're in that survival mode and you are running off stress hormones all the time, like you
Mm.
can't sustain that.
No.
Um,
Your body also can't heal in that state either. Like our
it can't.
body can't heal in a stress state and it only heals in like a calmed and regulated state. And this is,
Exactly.
yeah.
And you need to get there. And yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think a year and a half ago, I wasn't ready to get myself out of that
Yeah.
mode. I wasn't able to. I didn't
Mm,
have the resources available to me to, take a break and get myself right and do my mindset stuff and get better mentally and all
mm,
of that stuff. So it wasn't until I had those resources available that I was to do it. So it's definitely one of those things you got to assess and you got to start in small steps. Okay, well, right now, this is what I can do to help me
mm,
get to that end goal. And it might take me 5 years to get to that end goal, but I'm going to do this one thing today. I'm going to choose to make food at home that's cooked right than to go and get takeaway this one time. Or I'm going
that
to go
was
for
a
this one walk right
massive,
now.
yeah, that was a massive part of one of my other clients that we helped with her cycle too. She used to have to take days off work all the time. And one simple thing that we did that helped that was reducing her takeaway.
So,
That's literally it because like you don't know
yeah.
what the fuck is in that stuff. And I know you've shared a lot about I see sometimes on your page too about like the oils. I'm
Yeah.
such a big like anti-oil person. But a lot of takeaway stuff is deep fried and like vegetable oils or like all this stuff that's fucking with our fertility.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's at a minimum. Like that's before you get to the quality of the food. Like
Yeah.
that's just what it's cooked in. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's something looking back, like I don't think I could ever go back to eating that takeaway. And but at the same time, like making sure that you have room while you're growing. Like it's
Oh yeah.
okay to make mistakes. And
Yeah.
and that's the other thing as well. I think this is the first time that I started going back to the gym and started trying to eat better where I didn't get too hard on myself. Like if
Yeah.
I was like, I've had a really bad day and all I want is a Big Mac, I would go and get it. But
Yeah.
I would notice how it would make me feel
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, do I want to feel this again? No.
Mhm.
All right. I don't want to go to the gym today, so I'm not going to. I'm going to sit at home and watch TV. Okay, cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
Notice how you feel afterwards. That's
Mm.
all. So it was like 2 or 3 months of just noticing stuff. And we
Yeah.
would talk about it every night. We'd be like, okay, what did you notice today? What did you do? What did you do? And lots of mindset stuff, lots of small term goals, lots of daily reflection, lots of
Mm.
all of that that slowly takes you out of this really survival mode and everything's so hard and it's never going to get better. And then slowly you do get there, but it's
Mm.
hard work, but it's little steps.
Yeah.
And yeah, now it's crazy. Like
I think that's so true with the food stuff as well as like not being too hard on yourself about it because we are all human. But again, it's a noticing thing. It's like if I really sat with myself right now, does my body actually crave a Big Mac? Like really, really, really? Like yes, it probably does, but like really, does it?
yeah,
No. And like we're all human. Like I had what did I have? I had like Red Rooster freaking wings or something the other night because I was just wanting it. And like
yeah,
yes, I felt off afterwards, but again, it's a noticing thing. It's like, oh, okay,
yes.
this is not an all the time thing.
No, and that's the thing. As long as it's not an all the time thing, it will be fine. And the other thing as well is like, I really made sure that if I went to like a social gathering or something like that, like I'd just have whatever was there
Yeah.
and let myself feel those things. Because that's the whole point of getting out of survival mode is like
Not
being
being
able to
stressed and wound
survive.
up about it because sometimes that's almost worse than the opposite, like being so wound up and stressed about the food. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, as long as I'm eating, that's the
Yeah.
like it, like, yeah, okay, this meal is probably not what I should be eating right now. Who cares? I'm here with my family or
Mm,
with my friends. It's about the experience.
yeah.
I'm gonna eat it and then deal with it later. Like it's really, I think that really helped as well. It took the pressure off and it wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this because it's an 8-week challenge or I'm doing this because I want to lose
Mm,
5 kilos in 2 weeks. It's like, no, I'm doing this for my
longevity.
longevity,
Longevity, yeah.
that word, longevity. And that's what I'm doing it for, is I'm doing it for the fact that I want to be 35 and going for runs. I want to be
Mm,
55 and active. I want to be 65 and playing with my grandkids. I'm doing it so
mm,
that my metabolism slows down. I can eat more food. I'm comfortable. All of this stuff. And then, yeah, for me, honestly, once my period started getting a lot better, it was like, this is my monthly check-in.
yeah.
And this showing me that we are doing the right thing.
I
And
call
so
it a
now
report card, like a
it is.
reflection of your, not even just the past month. They say it's the past 3 months,
Yeah.
can make up the current cycle. So
So good.
yeah, it's just mind-boggling. And again, like that information, some people almost want to like gatekeep or don't tell people about it or, but like that should be birthright information. I feel like this would have been stuff that like thousands and thousands of years ago, women were passing down just
Yeah,
generationally. And they
surely.
just knew it.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, this is what happens at this time. And,
Mm,
we this food when we're caring for
yeah,
this, what everybody needs, like, surely, because
yeah,
this is not new information. Like, I feel like it was out there previously.
yeah.
And yeah, it should definitely be something that everyone is aware of, every woman or anyone with a menstrual
Uterus.
cycle should be aware of,
Yep.
like it's so important. And then their partners as well. Something that has been life-changing for me is the fact that Michael cares about my cycle.
Mm,
And he's like, not just here's a
isn't
heat
just
pack
brushing it off.
and some
Yeah.
chocolate, or
Here's some cement, toughen up.
it's he's telling people, you guys should be educating yourself on your partner's cycle. It's so important for both of you and
Yeah.
the way you live together and all of that too. And I think having someone that does care about it meant that it wasn't me fighting the fight alone.
Mm,
So some people that might not be their partner, some people that might be a coach.
Yeah.
fighting for it with them or a GP or someone. But I feel like trying to work it all out on your own is so hard, and having someone that understands and is like helping you get there,
Yeah.
bounce idea off, it's so necessary. And I think that's why I wasn't able to even think about looking into it all until the past year. So that definitely makes a difference, as well as having someone who's like, oh, like you could ask him anything about a menstrual cycle, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
He'll tell you what stages what and what's happening to the hormones at those stages as well. And I think that that's so good. And yeah, it is a women's issue, definitely. But I feel like there's also great outcomes for men getting involved in it as well, and educating themselves and helping females in their life as well.
Everyone knows a woman.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And most people know someone who has
Please.
painful periods.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it's just so important. So yeah, that's the other thing as well, is
Yeah.
that. So yeah, it's crazy. Sorry, I spoke for a very long time.
No, it's perfect. And that's what I wanted. I wanted you to like just riff and just share your story, because it's so needed. And I just think a lot of girls might be feeling stuck, or yeah, just aren't educated, or might open their eyes up, and how beautiful that you get to like, yeah, share that, and maybe this might land in the ears of someone that needs to hear it at the time.
Yeah.
What are some things that you either want to wrap up with, or would love to say to like either your younger self, or yeah, what would you say to your younger self actually? Maybe like at the age of 15.
I would say to 15, like 15-year-old me, I would honestly tell myself to go and really work on my mental health before doing anything. I would really, really encourage myself to do that. And from there, before you slap a band-aid on anything, really think about, yeah, am I just masking something, or am I dealing with a root cause of something? And I wouldn't have gotten on the pill. I know that it was a
tell her to not
band-aid.
do that.
I would, and I've thought about it with my daughter, like when she's 15, 16,
No.
and it's not happening. There's other ways.
Sorry, sweetie.
To have birth control, other ways to have, you deal with your symptoms and stuff like that. You're not going on the pill. So yeah, that would definitely be what I would say. And to be an advocate as well. Like if you know that something's not right, or you hear something and you're like, oh, that rings a bell, or that's what I go through, like speak up to anyone who will listen.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I would say to myself as well. But yeah, mental health, I think, is a huge thing. And if I had dealt with my stress and my body in that survival mode earlier, it could have been a different story. So that is probably what I would say, because before I had all my birth control and stuff, issues and stuff like that, that was the problem. So dealing with the root cause straight up.
Yeah, well, that's probably where the chronic fatigue and stuff was all stemming from too, is your body just shutting down.
Exactly. And so who knows, like, yeah, how that would have affected things. So yeah, just dealing with the root cause and not putting band-aids on things, because the band-aids have to come off at some point, and it is going to hurt every single time. So yeah.
Incredible.
That's what I would say.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure like deep diving into that stuff isn't always pleasant.
It's cool. It's the first time I've told it from start to finish in a long time. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty cool. And weird to remember it all though. Like, oh yeah, that happened. And oh yeah, that was the timeline and whatever. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to.
You're welcome. And I feel like you kind of said in parts of it, you probably just don't remember a lot of it either.
Yeah. Because
Trauma.
when you're 17, it's traumatic. You don't have to listen to all the doctors speak. Your mum does it for you. You don't. And there's been a lot where I've messaged mum and I'm like, did that happen? And she's like, babe, it was a lot worse than that. And I'm like, what? I had no idea. Like, with my appendix one, I didn't know that they removed like endo symptom, like the growth. Mom's like, you didn't know that? I said, no. She goes, babe, like it was bad. I was like, oh, and then I got the report and I was like, oh shit. So that sort of thing.
Yeah. Crazy,
Crazy.
crazy. So what's
Mm.
next for you? You mentioned you're studying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next is my getting qualified in coaching.
Mhm.
Really big focus in women's health. So I'll start with this course, this undergrad course with Women's Fitness Academy,
Mm.
and then see where it takes me from there. But really keen to get into the fitness industry and help anyone who will listen,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So that would be great. And just keep growing in educating myself and healing myself, and yeah, see where it takes me. Just say yes to everything, basically.
Yeah. I think even just like being the example and leading
Yeah.
by
Oh
example
yeah.
is like really cool. So I love that you said just keep working on yourself in that way.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, see how healthy I can get myself, how yeah, different to how it used to be. It'll be, yeah, I'm really excited. This is really only the start of the journey, which
Oh
is
yeah.
really exciting. Really, really exciting.
Very cool. Where can people find you? Do you have an Instagram people can
I
follow?
do. It's currently just my name, but it's Bailey with two A's from memory. I don't even know my
I'll
own
link it
Instagram.
anyway.
That would be great. Yeah, Bailey with two A's. And yeah, that one at the moment is where to find me. That's it. Otherwise, yeah, eventually we'll do a coaching page once I'm qualified and go from there. But that, yeah, that's my only handle at the moment.
Perfect. And that's all it needs to be. Like you might
So
even
good.
find that you don't even want to create a separate page and it just is a
No,
continuation of your life on that one and
true.
there you
Makes it
go.
more personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how you go. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I have loved hearing your story and loved just hearing the passion in you because I just feel like, yeah, you can't teach this stuff. And I've said that to you before.
No.
Like you can't
Yeah.
teach someone to care.
Yeah.
And you just obviously got that in you because unfortunately you went through it, but like clearly it was for a reason. So
Yeah. For
yeah,
sure. Nah, thank you. I appreciate it.
you're welcome. All right. Have a good night and
You too.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.